Hello everyone, welcome to Narain's Life with MS. This is Narain, and it's time for what MS taught me. So, this one might be a rehash, but um, considering I'm doing a lot of it, I kind of wanted to go down and dirty with some of the details about what MS teaches me. At least, you know if you've had similar or different experiences, of course put those in the comment section so that we can have a conversation on that. But the topic I wanted to cover was relearning everything, because MS not only makes you forget, it almost makes it seem that it never happened, right? And what are some of the things I'm learning? Well, I'm learning that my legs are a little more flexible, because honestly at one point in time I thought they were just two sticks. It is teaching me that pain does not only have to indicate injury or soreness from exercising. Sometimes pain happens because you're hitting a limit, right? And this pretty much covers something that I used to have, which was flexibility. And now I think I am, you know, about as flexible as what's something that's not flexible? Whatever it is, I definitely am that. And the one thing that really comes in when we are talking about relearning is the learning's not the difficult part, right? I have relearned a lot of things over time. I've relearned, I've learned over and over again how to walk, how to climb stairs, how to see, how to read. I've done all of that. The issue becomes that each successive time you're just a little bit different. You have just a little more when it comes to your shortcomings. So for example, when I had to learn more recently, I had to contend with the fact that my vision's shaky. Before then, when I learned to read, it was double vision. And before then, it was just the fact that my right eye wouldn't work as well as my left eye would, right? And when we come to something like walking, there was a time when was not able to walk, because I would literally walk. If you can imagine these as being my feet, I would walk like that, right, against the floor. So getting my feet from an angled state to this was a lot easier earlier, because now it's not only the fact that I have to be able to put my feet flat on the floor, but it's also that I need to make sure that my hip, my knee, my ankle all move together. And I don't know if you've ever played that um, online game where you have to move a figure by being able to move each and every single one of their angles in the correct way, but it is literally becoming like that for me. So when I wanted to talk about relearning today, I actually wanted to go a little bit deeper into it, right? Be a little darker with the with essentially how much harder it gets each subsequent time. And sometimes a lot of these things can happen over a period of time, right? If you're doing something over and over for a good length of time, your muscles are used to it. But say you divert from what you normally do to something slightly different, your body goes into some form of, shock. Let's say, I think shock is not the right word, but let's say surprise as to what you're trying to do. I definitely have experienced that, and sometimes those surprises, or as I called it, first shocks, were little shocks. So I have seen all of that, and I do want to say that yes, every subsequent time when you go back to relearning, it becomes just a little more difficult. And at one point in time, when you're relearning something for maybe the sixth time, the seventh time, the 10th time, the 15th time, there's always a part of you that wants to give up, right? There's always a part of you that wants to say, okay, fine, I'm done. We had a good run, but this is not for me anymore. And earlier in my life, and this sounds very weird because, I was definitely a lot more adventurous when I was younger, but earlier on in my life, I was a lot more akin to just saying, yeah, to my body, yeah, you're right, I should maybe give up, right? And this has definitely, I have definitely experienced that plenty of times, right? The One of the biggest things that actually ended up happening was 10 years back, after I came back from Nepal the second time. I told myself that I am not able to handle traveling there. Um, I'm not able to keep up with the demands of, energy or endurance or balance that is required to be, hiking around in, the foothills, or even to be on any surface that is maybe a little different from, flat ground, I can say. And the worst part was that at that point in time, when I should have actually forced myself to do a lot more, I gave up. Another time that I can think of is, experiencing shocks, right? I would experience shocks going up and down my legs. Now, these were probably warning signals that I was losing connection in between my neurons from my hips all the way down to my ankles. And instead of forcing myself to rebuild those connections, I kind of just said, okay, fine, I'll do something else. And even though I had been very active in certain cases, I diverged, I differentiated, I did everything that I was not supposed to do. So when it comes to relearning, the one thing that MS has taught me is you cannot give up at any point in time, because if that happens, if you just you know listen to the part of your body that says, you know what, I'm done right now, do something else, you might not be able to come back to what you were doing. So I have lost so many things as a result of just saying, yeah, I can give up. And now that I'm older and maybe a little maybe a little more observant and mature, and I definitely have the resilience to say I'm not going to give up. I know the hill is going to be a lot steeper of a climb. I definitely know that it is it is going to be one of those things that is going to take me a very long time to overcome. But knowing that I have support, right? I have friends, I have family, I've got loved ones, people I love. I at least owe them this much, that I can at least promise them that I'm going to try my level best to get back to what I was before. Because, there will come a time, especially if you are on a journey like I have been with MS, where your body just says, done, khalas, let's end it right now. But that is where you have to step in yourself and say, we're not done, we're going to try again tomorrow. And try you must, because that is when you will still remain the original you. So with all of that said, please do share your comments, your thoughts, your insights, your experiences on what are certain things that you probably lost, regained, and what you want to maybe tell your younger self, which would make their life a little easier at the age you currently are. Because this is a real thing, and sometimes we end up forgetting that that is the case. So with that said, thank you so much for watching, and this is Naren with MS. I am Naren, and of course, I'm wishing you a good night, sweet dreams, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Bye.